Jeb Bush, the head of his finance committee. Don't fall asleep when I mention the name. That's a low-energy individual, folks.
I built a business with my partner to be the largest commercial real estate company in South Florida. I didn't go bankrupt 4 times and call that success.
There is something profoundly wrong when Republican presidential candidates are repeating Barack Obama's talking points.
He's willing to say or do anything in order to win an election. That's why he ordered his campaign, or his campaign ordered people to tell people that Ben Carson had dropped out in Iowa, and in order to hopefully steal away some votes there.
So that was just yesterday. Republican candidates hitting one another, and remember, this is a state, South Carolina, that has backed the eventual Republican nominee almost every time, going back to Ronald Reagan in 1980. Matt Moore, chairman of the South Carolina Republican Party, is not sleeping right now. He's with us now out of Columbia. How you doing, Matt? Good morning.
Doing well, Bill. Good morning.
I want to just give our viewers a sense as to why your state has become such a pivot point in these campaigns.
Well, I give every candidate in South Carolina a piece of advice: is don't bring a butter knife to the machine gun battle that is South Carolina politics. Right now, those machine guns are blazing. It's because South Carolina is so important. We're twice as big as New Hampshire and Iowa combined. This race is going to, I think, winnow the field considerably and have a big impact on what happens in Georgia and Tennessee on March 1st and beyond.
I saw Donald Trump signing a baby's hand last night. A 9-month-old that I think had a pacifier in his mouth that said Donald Trump as well. You know Van Hipp, right? You know, he's from South Carolina. He used to have your job.
That's right.
Right? You know him, right? You know him well?
Very, very well.
Okay, this is what he told Neil Cavuto yesterday at 1 o'clock on the Fox Business Network.
I would not be surprised to see Donald Trump hit 40 points.
Wow.
It's looking a whole lot like the old Gingrich campaign, and I got to tell you, you got to give him credit. He had the vision to look at South Carolina very early on, and I think he took a page, and this is key. I think he took a page out of old President Bush 41's playbook and made South Carolina his firewall.
Now, I know you're supposed to be neutral, right? And you are, correct? You haven't endorsed anybody.
I very much am.
Well, and Van Hipp says he has not endorsed anyone either. What do you think about what he said about Donald Trump hitting 40%?
I got to give my friend Van a little bit of a hard time. That's not the way I'm seeing it. It's a jump ball here in South Carolina. Donald Trump is leading in polls, but there have not been polls in South Carolina since mid-January. Candidates have dropped out. Now we've seen the results in Iowa and New Hampshire. I've seen gigantic crowds for all the top 4 to 5 candidates here in South Carolina over the past few days. So I love my friend Van, but I'm not saying that right now, Van.
Okay, let me dive into your head on this then. If he's copying Bush 41's playbook, what was his playbook in South Carolina in 1988?
Well, South Carolina is a conservative state and a conservative party. We are a bellwether not only for the South, but for the nation. And the idea is that if you can win in South Carolina with the diverse electorate we have here, that you can win across the country and be the nominee of this party. So that's probably what Van is referring to. But I think what's true, though, here is that every one of these candidates are getting a close look once again after Iowa and New Hampshire.
Now, my guess is you have to appeal to veterans along the coast. You have to appeal to conservatives upstate. You have to appeal to moderates who probably live where you are in Columbia, South Carolina. I mean, is that...
That's right.
That's right.
We expect about 700. Yeah, we expect about 700,000 people to vote in our primary. It's a gigantic primary. The candidate that wins here in South Carolina will do the best across the 3 traditional legs of the stool of the Republican Party. That's social, fiscal, and military-focused conservative voters. It's as simple as that, but not very simple.
You know it gets pretty nasty, right? I mean, these guys are sizing each other up. There is a website I'll show our viewers. It's called the Whisper Campaign, and it's brought to you by the folks at the Post and Courier, I think out of Charleston, right? What do you know about this, and why is it necessary?
Well, there's a long history of colorful and creative political tactics here in South Carolina. The worst thing you can hear in a booth at a restaurant in Columbia is, "You didn't hear this from me, but let me tell you." That's changed maybe a little bit with the availability of information on Facebook and social media, but certainly a history here of creative campaign tactics. It just speaks to how important South Carolina is. I'm telling you, there are going to be only a few tickets out of here, and the race is going to change considerably following South Carolina.
I agree with you, but the Whisper Campaign, they've never done it this way before, have they? where you have a website where you can rat out rumors, right?
Yeah, isn't that interesting? You know, Twitter is mostly used for that, but I like the fact that the Post and Courier has gotten ahead of it. That's kind of neat.
We'll see who reports. Matt Moore, thanks. We'll talk to you next week, okay? And we'll see where we are after the debate this weekend, okay? And a big rally, 2 of them probably on Monday night. Thank you, sir. Matt Moore there in Columbia, South Carolina.
Thanks, Bill.